Chapter 59, Vuronix. Pod wakes up in a land of green soil and bone, and as he wakes up, gives up on life. All he can do now is relax on a planet he thought he would be staying on for ages. He has no ship after all. The planet isn't very appealing. But Pod isn't fussy about whatever land he walks upon. He can partially alter land via fire, ice and water, and he can always change a world. As he starts getting some of his strength back, with no trident, he starts to unlock more of his Viber power without the need for the trident, making him puzzled. But over time he starts to feel Viber within himself and practices for quite some time. However, he starts to see something crawling, and other things coming from the sky, and it is the Vuronix themselves. Dark green snake-like with horns, sharp teeth and dragon wings. All coming towards Pod. Pod does see all the bones around him, including morphil skeletons. Not many races are safe around here, so all he can do now is fight them off. He was spooked at first, but at the same time, morphils are scary too, not letting any fear get to him. He has fought off armies before, and this one is no different now that he feels closer to Viber. As he fights them, he is aiming to own the planet pretty much, even if he needs to get rid of every Vuronix in the land. As the Vuronix fly towards Pod, Pod starts to summon his Viber powers despite his condition. He does all sorts to the incoming Vuronix, such as freezing them, pushing them away via water, drowning some in water, putting Vuronix into ice blocks and more. He does also forms various ice weapons such as a solid ice trident to jab multiple Vuronix and even throw them like javelins. He also uses his martial arts if some of the Vuronix get too close, going as far as performing a move where Pod rolls into the ground which squishes Vuronix against the ground. Pod is willing to kill these creatures because if all they do is feed, then no discussion can be done. However, more and more Vuronix start to occur, making Pod desperate. He has got a couple of bites from some of the Vuronix. Their jaw also possesses a type of alien bacteria that can slowly make a foe sleepy or even kill depending on how strong your body is, but despite some injuries, he remains motivated. The Legion and Titanrans are about to look for Pod. And as they make their way there, Mike decides to call Retron via the Collaptor. Retron is contacted about the missile strike, and Retron has admitted to trying to kill them all, and he has certainly got rid of some morphil. Mike tries to get Retron to lower his ego before more wrongdoings occur, to which Retron scoffs. This completely wipes away any friendship they have left between one another, and so the call ends, but they have now made it to the planet. And so far, Pod isn't doing very well against the Vuronix despite the immense effort. Because of the kind of chemicals that are within the jaws of Vuronix, this makes Pod get more and more delusional, nearly fainting and with his memories spiraling out of control. Not to mention the loads of injuries he has already, and thankfully he is a strong enough race to not be in a far worse condition. In the end, the Legion does manage to reach Pod. Not even a tenth of the Vuronix have been defeated by Pod. But most of them are about to get moved aside by the Legion and Pod. Nicole advises both herself and Zami to go and defend and rescue Pod, with the Titanrans helping fight off the Vuronix, using their fists or vines. As the Titanrans' cruise starts to arrive at the land, to which the Vuronix spot a point where a good majority of them make their way to the ship, seeing how big it is. There must be a lot of meat in there, with only a good few left to try and get hold of Pod, who is starting to collapse despite Pod using Viber's power to keep the Vuronix away, fainting before he sees who is coming to save them. Nicole and Carpo plan a charge with Zami, Mike, Diane and Nicole using their long-range abilities to fire at the Vuronix, making their way to Pod, and the Titanrans form massive leaf-like shields to protect the Legion. The rest of the Titanrans, and even some Titanrans, stay near the ship, forming loads of vegetation within the ground, causing many underground vines to appear, keeping the Vuronix in the air or knocking them out. At this point, the Vuronix are so monstrous they all agree that killing them would have to be done for everyone's survival because everyone is getting too close to these airborne yet snapping jaws. Eventually, Nicole, Diane, Mike and Zami make it to Pod, seeing him as unconscious. Seeing him bitten many times but also seeing no trident, seeing that Pod can use Viber without Pod's weapon. Diane and Zami sense around and no trident is in sight, so Diane starts to take Pod, carrying him while keeping his weapons up so that Pod doesn't get bitten anymore. Plus, Nicole and Zami stay nearby, And even Zami sees that while he can show off, it is for a good reason. A massive amount of power is needed here, but the overall goal is still to protect Pod. Even Nicole is starting to get more comfortable with the idea that she cannot be close to Mike all the time, and doesn't have to worry about him. If Nicole is protected by Zami and Diane, then Mike can be protected by the Titanrans, who is helping the Titanrans as they are less long-ranged compared to Mike. Pod gets into the cruiser, and once he is placed inside, Zami and Nicole carry on taking Pod inside the ship, to where the healing beds are, while Diane fires loads from his machine guns. The missiles from the back and his laser eyes, almost creating a rainstorm going upwards which had no Veranik touching the ship. The Titanrans and Mike now see Pod inside, and they all start to get inside the ship. Only one Titanran has been bitten by a Veranik, but he is still standing. The vine manipulation keeps going as they all make their way to the ship. Mike's drone has also been a big help in decreasing the air activity in the sky. Sadly, that drone does get taken apart by the Vuraniks, making Mike sad, but he knows there are more important things than a broken drone. Making it a bitter taste for the Vuraniks they do not like, adding to their frustration that no one is dead enough to eat from. Many other Titanran feats are performed, like grabbing Vuraniks to swing them into the ground, creating giant Venus flytraps. Sharp vines that drive through multiple Vuraniks and creating many vines for the Titanrans to run on to get to the ship quicker. As this fight starts to finish, they all start to come onto the cruiser, all help fight off the Vuraniks. The Vuraniks at least see enough of their corpses at a point where they can feed off them instead of trying to eat some beings who are masters of combat. With Pod now taken on the ship, and the rest jumping back on, they leave the Veranik planet as quickly as possible. Thanks to this battle, even Zami has yet another moment where he sees that power isn't everything. It is more about being helpful than showing off the power. Like most fights, it was a traumatic experience. They are relieved that Pod is okay but worn out at the same time. It was one of the roughest and quickest situations they had ever been through. With one of the Titanrans injured, even the Titanrans start to see the Legion as someone more efficient. But Vondur still isn't too convinced, thinking that any fight should be done effortlessly. A slight mistake is strict in his mind.